friends gathered to remember Tom, who had died a year ago. Someone brought an old video camera and offered to watch videos from their parties. They laughed, reminiscing about their youth. And then they noticed him. In all the videos, standing in the very corner, was a man no one recognized. He didn't move, just stared into the camera. And in the last recording, made the day before Tom's death, this man walked right up to the cameraman and whispered, "You're next." Mark opened the door and let his friends in. It was drizzling outside, but the living room was warm and cozy. They hadn't gotten together in almost a year, not since Tom died. The accident, the drunk driver, the ambulance, the hospital, 3 days in a coma, and the empty bed. It all still loomed before their eyes. "Come in," Mark said, taking their jackets. "I ordered pizza, there's beer in the fridge." Lena, Sam, Jake, and Kevin sat down on the couches. The atmosphere was sad but warm. They wanted to remember their friend, to remember the good times, not to mope alone. "Look what I found," Sam said, taking an old video camera out of his backpack. "It's from the 80s, my mom gave it to me. It's got a bunch of our old videos on it." "Wow," Kevin whistled. "We were young, that must have been fun to watch." They hooked up the camera to the TV and started watching. The first recording was from a party 10 years ago. Lena's birthday, a cramped apartment, loud music, everyone young and carefree. Tom was still alive, dancing in the middle of the room, waving his arms. "Look at him," Lena laughed. "He was always showing off." They kept watching. A picnic by the lake, New Year's, a hike in the mountains, dozens of other moments captured on film. Tom was everywhere. Alive, real, smiling. On one of the recordings, Lena suddenly frowned. "Wait," she said. "Rewind." Sam rewound the recording. The frame froze on a wide shot of the party. Everyone was looking at the camera, waving. And in the corner, almost out of frame, stood a man. A young man, pale, wearing dark clothes. He didn't move, just stared straight into the lens. "Who is that?" Lena asked. The friends looked closely. No one recognized him. "Maybe someone I know?" Jake suggested. "I don't remember him." "Me neither," Mark said. "The face is unfamiliar." They scrolled further. In the next recording, from a different party, the guy was again in the corner. Also motionless, also looking at the camera. "Strange," Kevin muttered. "It's like he's everywhere with us, but no one knows him." They looked through all the recordings. In each one, from the oldest to the newest, the man stood in the corner. Over the years, he grew closer. In the first few videos, he was barely visible, almost blending into the background, but in later ones, he stood at the edge of the crowd, almost in a circle. In the last recording, made the day before Tom's death, the camera was filming a wide shot of Sam's party. Everyone was having fun, dancing. And then suddenly this man stepped forward. He walked right up to the cameraman, looking straight into the lens. His face took up the entire screen. Pale, emotionless, with black, pupil-less eyes. He opened his mouth and whispered, "You're next." The recording ended. Silence fell over the room. The friends stared at the blank screen, speechless. A chill ran down their spines. "Is this a joke?" Jake finally managed to say. "Did someone edit this?" "The camera is old," Sam said quietly. "You can't edit this. This is the original." "Tom," Lena whispered. "He said, 'You're next.'" And Tom died the next day. Mark stood up and walked over to the television. He rewound the footage to the part where the man stood in the corner. He peered into his face. It was blank, but in his eyes, there was something familiar. Where could we have seen him? He asked. No one answered. And suddenly, a soft creak echoed through the silence of the room. The door to the hallway slowly opened. A chill blew into the room. Mark, a voice called out from the darkness. You're next.
Everyone jumped and turned toward the source of the voice. The hallway was empty. Just an open door and darkness beyond. Mark stepped forward and turned on the light. Empty. There's no one here, he said, but his voice trembled. Lena grabbed Sam's hand. It was his voice. The same one from the video. Jake walked to the door and peered into the hallway. Nothing. Just an old clothes hanger and a mirror in the corner. The mirror reflected the room, themselves, frightened and pale. And something else. In the very corner of the reflection, where the light ended, stood a figure. The same one, pale, with black eyes. Follow you! Jake shouted. Everyone immediately turned around. The room was empty. Just the television, which was showing the recording again. Now they saw themselves from afar. Standing there, frightened, looking into the hallway. And behind them, right in the middle of the room, stood he. A man with empty eyes. He looked into the camera and smiled. Turn it off! Kevin shouted. Sam unplugged the TV. The silence became oppressive, almost tangible. Lena burst into tears. We have to leave, she said. Now! Where? Mark waved his hand around the room. He's everywhere. On all the recordings. He's been with us all these years. But who is he? Jake shook his head, as if trying to wake up. Where did he come from? No one knew the answer. And in the silence, the voice rang out again. This time from the kitchen. You don't remember me? But I remember you. All of you. Every minute. They ran to the kitchen. It was empty. Only the kettle whistled softly, though no one had turned it on. It's a joke, Kevin tried to convince himself. Someone's hiding and scaring us. Who? Sam asked. Who knew about Tom? About him saying, "You're next"? At that moment, Mark's phone rang. He looked at the screen. It was Tom, the one who had died a year ago. Mark dropped the phone. It landed face down on the floor. A photo of Tom appeared on the screen, alive and smiling. And underneath it, the words "incoming call." Don't answer, Lena whispered. The phone went silent. But a second later, it rang again. And again. And again. Then everyone's phones rang. Lena's, Sam's, Jake's, Kevin's. The same face was on every screen. Tom! They looked at each other, unsure what to do. And the calls continued, merging into one continuous buzz. Answer, came a voice from the TV, which no one had turned on. He wants to tell you something. The recording started playing again. Now they could see Tom. He was sitting in this very room, on this very couch, staring into the camera. His eyes were empty, like that man's. Don't watch the old videos, Tom said. He appears through them. I thought it was a joke. And now I'm where he is. And you'll be there too. The image froze. The phone stopped ringing. A deathly silence fell over the room. What should we do? Kevin whispered. Mark looked at the door, then at the windows. Everything was closed, locked, as if the house itself didn't want them out. We need to find every recording and destroy them, he said. Every single one. What if he's already here? Lena asked. What if it's too late? Something moved in the corner of the room, out of the light. A dark figure detached itself from the wall and stepped forward. Now they could see it clearly. A young man, almost a boy, in old clothes. Pale as chalk, with pupil-less black eyes. He looked at them and smiled. Not too late, he said. Just right. I've been waiting for you to notice me. 10 years. Now you're mine. He held out his hand. Lena screamed. The light in the room went out. The light didn't return. Only darkness and silence, in which the beating of 5 frightened hearts could be heard. And then a scream broke the silence. Lena was the first to scream. Her voice cut off as suddenly as if someone had covered her mouth. Lena! Sam shouted. Silence. Then a click. The TV turned on by itself. A recording played on the screen. Lena was sitting on the same couch where she had just been, staring blankly into the camera. He stood next to her. The same guy. He smiled and stroked her head like a doll. 1, whispered the voice from the TV. 4 to go. Kevin rushed to the door. It was locked. He punched and screamed, but the door didn't budge. Jake tried to smash the window with a chair, but the glass didn't even crack. Mark and Sam stood huddled together, staring at the screen. The image changed. Now they saw themselves outside. Standing there, stared in the darkness. And next to each of them stood a figure. Transparent, almost invisible, but it was there. Behind Kevin, behind Jake, behind Sam, behind Mark. You've never been alone, the voice said. I've been waiting. 10 years. Since the first party. I came then and stayed. You just didn't notice. Who are you? Mark shouted. I'm the one they forgot. The one they didn't invite. The one who watched from the sidelines and waited for you to see. Now you see. Now you're mine. The image on the screen flickered. Lena in the video raised her hand and waved. A voice came out of her mouth, but it wasn't her own. Come to us. It won't hurt here. It's just dark. But you'll get used to it. Kevin screamed again. His scream faded to a croak and then to silence. When Mark turned around, Kevin was gone. A new video appeared on the screen. Kevin standing next to Lena, staring blankly into space. 2, the voice whispered. Jake rushed toward the stairs to the 2nd floor. Sam ran after him. Mark was left alone in the darkness, staring at the screen where his friend stood next to someone they hadn't noticed for 10 years. Why me? He asked. Why us? Because you were the first to see, the voice replied. The others just watched and didn't notice. But you noticed. That means you're ready. A scream came from above, then silence. The screen flickered, and Mark saw Jake and Sam standing next to the others. 4. 1 left. Now you, the voice said. Mark felt a chill at his back. He turned. The man stood a meter away. Pale, pale, young, with black eyes. He smiled and extended his hand. "Don't be afraid," he said. "We're family now. Everyone who was forgotten, everyone who watched from the sidelines, you will be with us forever." Mark closed his eyes. A chill ran through him. His thoughts faded. The last thing he heard was the click of the television turning off. The next morning, the neighbors called the police. The door to Mark's house was open. They found no one inside. Only an old video camera on the table with a single tape. The policemen started recording. On the screen, 5 friends sat on the couch. They looked into the camera and smiled. And behind them, in the corner, stood another man. Young, pale, with black eyes. He hugged them all at once, a happy expression on his face. The policeman turned off the camera and placed it in an evidence bag. And that evening, when he returned home, an identical tape was already lying on his desk. With the inscription, "Look at me." He took it and froze. A quiet whisper came from the corner of the room. "You're next."